Working with text is pretty straightforward in Photoshop. You want to take the text tool, and there are two ways that you can create text with the text tool. The first one is if you simply just click into your document area, and that's going to give you some filler text, and it's a single line. When my mouse is over the text, I get the line that indicates I can edit. When I scoot my mouse down or out to the outside of the text, I get the move tool, which means I could click and drag and move this text around. Okay, so inside here, I'm going to get rid of the filler text and I'm going to put in Big Mac. All right, and again, I could continue to move this around. If I want to change my font or my color, I'm going to go up to my options bar. I'm going to make sure my text is selected here by just clicking and dragging over it. And from the options bar, I can choose a different font. So you can cycle through and you can see all of these different fonts here. And then various fonts will have different features with them, such as if they'll allow them to be italic or bold italic. And then you can choose your font size. And if you want a number that is not here listed, so what if I want something between 48 and 60, you can put that number in manually. I'll put 54 and then click outside the field and I'll get that number. So you're not limited to just these numbers here. The anti-aliasing, this is something that can be really noticeable on large text. This involves how the text is being displayed on its edges, so whether or not it's going to have sharp, crisp edges or you want the edges of the text to be smooth. So you could try this out and see if you notice any differences. It's pretty subtle. If you're just working with one line of text, generally you're not going to use these alignments because I can just move my text around like this and place it wherever I want. And then if I want to change its color, pick a different color here, I can do it up here as well. Once you've made all your settings, you can commit to it. And now that I'm looking at it and if I realize, oh, I don't like that color at all, I want to work on it again. So I'm going to go over to the T in my layers panel. I'm going to double click it and now this is editable again. So now I can go up here and I can switch the color to a different color. And I can always move it with the move tool. Move it around. Okay, so this is fine for one line of text like a heading. And notice if I take the text tool and I just click again, I'm going to get another one over here. Let's see, here's layer 1. And if I realize, oh, I didn't mean to do that, I'm going to cancel this. And now that layer is gone. And I just have my one layer here that says Big Mac. And the text tool, I think this is kind of cool because it doesn't give you a thumbnail image of what's on that layer, but it tells you the text. The other way you could use this tool, same tool, it's just that instead of just clicking, this time I'm going to click and holding down the mouse, I'm going to drag out what's called a bounding box. And when I let go, Photoshop gives me that filler text again. And I'm going to just change the size of that. And just for the sake of example, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it so we have a little bit more text here. So the bounding box is the way you should work if you are having a paragraph of text. And what this does is it allows you to resize that paragraph. It'll shift everything around for you, which is great. A great way to be able to see your layout in a bunch of different forms. So I can keep shifting it and it's going to move everything for me. I don't like the center aligned text, so I'm going to highlight all that and switch that over to my left aligned text. If I want to get some other options for my text, other alignments, I'm going to go up to Window and I can choose Paragraph, choose Paragraph here, and now you can see I have a whole bunch of different options for alignment. So I can choose this one and now it's justified. You could also choose if you wanted to hyphenate or not. If you don't want it to hyphenate, uncheck that. Okay, so there are a lot of different little tweaks that you can do to your text here in this paragraph pop-up window. When it opened up, another tab was there, and this is the character panel. So a lot of the things that you have up here, you can also access through the character panel, but there are some additional things that you didn't have in the options bar. So I can do my font size and my color, but you can also just tweak things about the spacing, such how much space do I want to be able to have in between my letters, the spacing between words. So this is another area to go and explore. And then once you have set your font to look the way you want, then you go and you commit it by clicking that check mark up there. All right. And so again, if I need to edit them, I double click on the T. When you're working with text in Photoshop and in a layout, I want you to also be working with your rulers and your guides. So if you don't have your rulers up, you want to go to View, Rulers, and make sure that that's checked. Now I have my ruler set up to pixels, but we're just going to ignore that. Yours would be at inches. Once you have your rulers up, you can set your guides by clicking into the ruler, holding the mouse down, and dragging it out, and this creates a guide. So if I wanted to be able to have consistent margins, for example, I'm going to create guides at the same alignment or same spacing on both sides. Okay, so I'm just kind of like grabbing. So to do the horizontal ones, you grab from the ruler at the top, and you can drag those wherever you want. And if you need to adjust them, you use the move tool, and then you can tweak them around. All right, so now I have a sense of alignment, like maybe I wanted to have a couple of paragraphs of text, like one aligning to this corner, one aligning to this corner, so on and so forth, whatever, a lot of different options here. But I do want you to use the guides to be able to help you create some kind of consistent margins and alignment in your layout. A couple more things about styling your text. So up in the options bar, kind of where I left off, we went over these things, is also the warp option. Most of the time, I don't really recommend this, but there might be an occasion when you want your text to be warped. And so you click on that icon, and then you use the styles down here, and you can choose one of these styles, such as an arc, and now you can see this is arced, and you can go in and change the defaults and make it look however you want. Okay, so now that I've done that, and I'm going to move it down a little bit, what else could I do? I'm going to hit the check mark. So down here where you have the FX button, there are also some things that you could always use on an image, but these work really well on text as well. So if you have text that goes over like a multicolored background, for example, where the text is over an image, to help the text stand out, all of these are really useful. The stroke is going to be an outline on the text. So I will just put a stroke, it's putting a black outline here, and we're going to leave that. I'm going to put it at size 3 at its default. So I'm leaving all of this at its default. And to make it a little bit easier to show you what this is doing, I'm going to put a color on my background. I'm going to sample this color here and then do it just slightly lighter. Okay, and so now you can see a little bit better how the text has a little bit of a black outline on it, and that really helps it pop out. All right, some other things that you could do, I'll go back up, select that layer, and you could try adding a drop shadow, for example. And that's another thing you could do to get it to pop out. And then once you get into here, you can adjust. Maybe you don't want it to be quite so big or to be so fuzzy or more fuzzy, but you can go in and tweak all of these adjustments and see if you find the settings that you like. Okay? So I'm not going to go through all of these. They're all pretty self-explanatory, but you should just take some practice text like I did and then just try going through them, outer glow, inner glow, bevel and emboss, and just checking them all out. All right, and then if you ever want to see what does your layer look like without them, then you could just simply turn off the eyeball right here.